right? So we start with linear equations in two variables today. Our class today will be less of maths and more of understanding, and the knowledge for this chapter is very much required because the coordinate geometry that you have studied in grade 10 is absolutely a toy coordinate geometry. Uska matlab 11 mein, if you have not studied also, you do not have anything cost to you. But if you don't know this, you'll have problem. Okay, so chapter would be linear equations in two variable. Linear now just see, I'm putting an S out here in bracket due to some reason, in two variables. Now this chapter was introduced to you in grade 9, and grade 9 again was a very kiddo level introduction. Linear equation in two variables means linear equation means I would have a polynomial. Let's say I have a polynomial which is something like ax plus b. Is it linear? Yes, it's linear because the degree of the variable is 1. So this is linear equation in one variable, which we have dealt in grade, say grade 8 we have dealt it, grade 7 we have dealt it. Okay, that's an expression. So this is a polynomial in one variable. Now suppose I equate it to 0, I get it as a linear equation, and this linear equation is in one variable. This is known as the coefficient of x. This is the constant. Obviously when you say coefficient of x, you also include the sign, and this is the constant. Constant means b. B is plus b is our constant. Our chapter is about linear equation in two variables, something that we have learned already in grade 9. So I would write something as ax plus by say is equal to 0. This is a linear equation in two variables. Do I have two variables? Yes, I have two variables, x and y. And now if somebody tells me about coefficients, I will say, look, I have a coefficient which is a plus a, which is the coefficient of x. I have a coefficient of plus b, which is the coefficient of y. Then you say, why are you not including a constant also? I said, look, there may be a constant, may not be a constant, but usually whether you eat or not, when you go for a buffet, if they say 17 items, they'll present all 17. So we are supposed to show a constant. So let me say I have a constant c out here, right? Now, if you go back to quadratic equation, you will see that the standard form of writing the quadratic equation plus ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. We always put 0 on the right hand side. Now, if I want to put the 0 on the right hand side, then it becomes minus c is equal to 0. 2 plus 1 minus, nothing wrong in it. But थोड़ा देखने में खराब लगता है, beautification नहीं है. So what we say, if my constant would have been something like this, and I try to bring it on the other side, now I can write ax plus by plus c equal to 0. Have you understood? At this level, what we understand, this is a linear equation, singular, in two variable, x and y being two variables, plus a being the coefficient of x, plus b being the coefficient of y, and plus c being my constant term, Both x and y have 1 as their bindi on their forehead. Therefore, it's known as linear equation, and makes sense with the way you learned quadratic equations. Only thing is you learned quadratic equation in one variable, so it was ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. Clear hua? Now, if I ask you from grade 9 and I ask you, find the solution of this linear equation, okay, find the solution of this linear equation. Now, when you try to find the solution of a linear equation, now we go back to grade 9. What did grade 9 teach us? Grade 9 taught us that a linear equation can be also plotted on a graph, and the graph of a linear equation is always a straight line. ठीक है ना? अब यहाँ पे बहुत कुछ आएगा. The graph of a linear equation, let's say this is a linear equation and its graph is a straight line. This is a straight line of a graph, right? And let me call that this is representing the equation ax plus by. We'll discuss a lot on these things today. Ax plus by plus c equal to 0. And somebody has asked you, what is the solution for this? Now, the question comes, if I would have given you ax plus b equal to 0, and somebody asks you, what is the solution to it? You would very easily say, bx is equal to negative b upon a. एक ही सॉल्यूशन है, इसको छोड़ के और कोई सॉल्यूशन नहीं है. इसको हम बोलेंगे यूनिक सॉल्यूशन. एक ही सॉल्यूशन है. But if I ask you what is the solution of this, then the solution of this are all the points of x and y which satisfy this particular equation. Let's say we take an example. Let's say our example is something like, say, x plus y plus 1 is equal to 0. X plus y plus 1 equal to 0. We have an equation like this. Okay. Now, what all are the points which satisfy it? Somebody will say, sir, you take the origin, x as 0, y as 0, then you get a 1. Is it equal to 0? No, 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 no. Suppose if I take here x as 2 and y as minus 1, still doesn't work. If you take x as minus 2 and y as 1, then what does it become? Minus 2, 1, 1, 0 and 0. Satisfied. It's a hidden trial method. But is it only one point which will satisfy it? No. There will be many points. And what is that one point? You just solved one point. Let's say if x is taken as a value of plus 2 and y is taken, sorry, x is taken a value of negative 2, y is taken a value of plus 1. And then if you add them, 1 plus 1, 2, 2. So you say that negative 2 and 1 is a solution to this equation. Negative 2 and 1 will also lie on this particular line. This is what we want to say. If you find a point or a code or a ordered pair, this is called an ordered pair. If you find an ordered pair or a coordinate system which is satisfying this, that coordinate system will appear on this equation. Now question arises, do we have only one point? No, we have infinite, because what is this line? A line is a collection of many points. तो ऐसे कितने solution है? Infinite solution है. फिर बात आती है, then does it make any sense of finding the solution of one linear equation in two variable? Doesn't make any sense. Everyone will have different call out. So we start, what do we do? Our whole idea here will be that we will get into many scenarios where we will get two linear equations. But two linear equations, let's name it. Let's say b1 c1, and the other linear equation in one variable is a2x plus b2y plus c2 is equal to 0. Correct? Now this one holds, and in many books this chapter will be written as simultaneous linear equations. That's all. दो साथ साथ चलेंगे. समझ में आया? Simultaneous linear equation means I now have a plot of this. I can also have another line and say my other line's plot is something like this. This is my other line. And this line is a2x plus b2y plus c2 equal to 0. यहाँ तक समझ में आया? Every linear equation in two variable actually can be represented by a straight line. This is a linear equation in two variables represented by this straight line. This is this straight line. Arbitrarily I have drawn. आप बोल सकते हो सर आपने ऐसे क्यों बनाया, ऐसे क्यों नहीं बनाया, वो सब अभी छोड़ो. Arbitrarily. Now the idea how this chapter will go is, now let us see the flow process. This is the chapter. The chapter is linear equations in two variable. The chapter will go with two process. The first part of the chapter will be everything on graphical, and then there will be another part called analytical. End of the day, all you are interested is to find solution. When we go for analytical, there are three methods of finding the solution, out of which the third method CBSE has taken off some 2-3 years हो गया होगा. There are only two methods now, method of substitution and method of elimination. Okay, और बाकी रहा graphical. इसको बच्चे रट्टू तोता की तरह कर लेते हैं, इसमें कोई मुश्किल नहीं होगा आपको. आप इसको जरा ध्यान से समझो, ये समझना ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. The more you understand this, the more your coordinate geometry in grade 11 gets cleared. Okay, and once you have found a solution of this, then we expect that you know how to solve linear equations in two variables. You know by this method, you know by this method also. So now you are quite knowledgeable. So then we bombard you with word problems. And when you get word problems, the equations are usually very simple. Remember this. Quadratic equation chapter mein, if somebody tells you solve a quadratic equation, that equation will be tough, maybe tough. But in word problem, the equations are simple. The challenge is to form the equation. And the skill set you need for this chapter is something you are very heavily blessed with, the knowledge of English. how you read English, how you interpret English, and you break down the language into problem. And when you break it down into problem, as I say, every word problem has one, what to find, and two or three conditions will be given to you. Those conditions will be helping us frame the equation. This is the chapter's overall skeleton. Now what we will do, we had a brief talk about what is a linear equation in two variable, and we are not going to deal with one, but we will deal with 1 plus 1. That's why we use the word simultaneous. And our journey now goes into this side. Are we ready? Now everything will be graphical, graphical, graphical. Okay? And maybe if you bring a graph book here, it's fine. But if you don't bring a graph book also, we will be able to understand. या मन लगाओ थोड़ा सा, ठीक है? चलिए. Now, let's say we have two persons, person A and person B. Person A and person B never get along. Never get along. Whatever this one says something else. So we say, why do you two always keep fighting? Can there be never a truce between you? Can there be never a solution between you? So all we are trying to hunt is that, learne wale dono public, can there be a solution between you two? So then you ask, ये solution होता क्या है? So as simple in English, I'll say solution is one POV, point of view, where this fellow also agrees and this fellow also agrees. Don't you think? यही तो solution है. Solution is something point of view, something. सब में लड़ते रहता है. आप में solution नहीं यहाँ है. I also don't like Karela, he also doesn't like Karela. So Karela is one point of view where this person also agrees and this also agrees. Solution means, तो ये पूरा चीज को अगर हम तोड़े तो एक इंग्लिश वर्ड यूज कर सकते हैं, हैंडशेक. Is there one aspect where two people shake hands with each other, and if they shake hands, then we will say that it is a solution between the 2 points. ठीक है? Two fighting people. So now the whole story remains this: replace this person by equation 1 and replace this person by equation 2. Keep the same storyline. इक्वेशन 1 है, इक्वेशन 2 है. अच्छा, इक्वेशन में क्या सॉल्यूशन ढूंढ रहे हैं? वी आर ऑल अबाउट ग्राफिक्स. दैट मींस इक्वेशन 1 कैन बी रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय समथिंग कॉल्ड स्ट्रेट लाइन 1 एंड दिस कैन बी रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय समथिंग कॉल्ड स्ट्रेट लाइन 2. सो आई एम लुकिंग फॉर अ सॉल्यूशन बिटवीन इक्वेशन 1 एंड इक्वेशन 2. बात को समझिए. यू आर लुकिंग फॉर अ सॉल्यूशन बिटवीन इक्वेशन 1 एंड इक्वेशन 2. इन अदर हैंड, व्हाट आर यू लुकिंग फॉर? You are looking for a solution between straight line 1 and straight line 2. And what do you mean by solution? Solution means handshake. Yeah, handshake. Are the two lines going to shake hands with each other? And if the two lines shake hands with each other, that means that's a solution between the two lines. So if we summarize our discussion, so far in the graphical approach, we will have an equation, and when it's equation, you understand this is linear equation in two variables, right? We'll have an equation A, and this will fight with another equation versus equation B, and all you are trying to look is basically a solution. So when you make them fight, since this is graphical, अब ये जो step लिख रहा हूँ ना, this is only for graphical. When we go for analytical, all these lines and all disappear. कोई line वन का कारोबार नहीं. We'll be working on this. Now since my approach is graphical, in graphical the equations make no meaning to me. Graphical means this would be straight line A and there would be another straight line B, and you are trying to look a solution between these two, means you are making these two straight lines fight with each other. How many of you have had any Greek or Latin moment? बच्चा एकदम freely बोलो, because I want no ambiguity in this chapter for your grade 11. आपको बहुत प्रॉब्लम होगा, लेकिन छुपाओ मत अभी. Anything you don't understand, ask twice. ठीक है? Any linear equation in two, quadratic means curve, linear equation means straight line. Linear माने straight. Linear equations, two linear equations fighting with each other. Sir, how are you going to resolve them? Graphically. So forget about the linear equations, bring their straight line format or their straight line form. So they change their form and now they become straight line, straight line. So the fight is between two straight lines, and we are looking for a solution. Solution means in mind always remember handshaking. ठीक है? मिला है अभी इस कहानी को? अंडरस्टूड? चलो अब सेकंड बात करते हैं. नाउ solution between two straight lines. And as we talk about this, on our mind, for the word solution, when we look about solution, the analogous word that we are finding is a handshake. Handshake. Now you think yourself, given two lines, what all are the various methods in which the handshaking may happen? The two lines can cross each other in such a way that they shake hand only at one point. Sir, what are you saying? They can never shake at any other point. ये नाक साफ तो है नहीं कि घूम के आएगा. So they will shake hand at only one point. So this would be, suppose this is SL1 and this is SL2, then this is the happy moment for both, and we say कि ये एक solution है. Another way the two lines can come is that this and another line is absolutely parallel. They are like the two tracks of a pair of railway track. They will never meet with each other. In this case, we say we have come up to such a sort of a scenario that there is no handshaking, no solution. अच्छा एग्जाम्पल दूंगा इसका, ठीक है, इसके बाद. And then there can be a third format also, where one line can be like this and the other line exactly runs over the first line. ठीक है. अब इनके एग्जाम्पल देखो. The power of love marriage and arranged marriage. When you have love marriage, before marriage life is like this. आज ब्रेड खाएं क्या? हाँ तुम जो बोलोगे, I just love you order, I have it. After marriage life becomes like this. You never coincide. किसी बात पे आपका एग्रीमेंट ही नहीं है, झगड़ते ही रहते हो. So this is what this we say is, this is चंद्रमुखी phase. Everything is like चंद्रमुखी flower. शादी का एक साल गया, क्या होता है? सूरजमुखी, थोड़ा गर्म टेम्परेचर बढ़ा, ये ज्वालामुखी फेज है, वोल्केनिक पूरा, ठीक है ना. Another way to think is, these are two people who have only one point in common. This is, we never mix up, and this one is just like what happens to the immediate climbers in corporate life. Boss says something, another boss says, yes sir, yes sir, 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 exactly sir, 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 sir. Whatever is a point here is a point here. तो अभी आपको अगर कोई पूछे कि इसमें कितने सॉल्यूशन हैं, आप बोलोगे ऐसे फॉर्मेट में एक ही सॉल्यूशन है. इसमें कितने हैं? कोई सॉल्यूशन नहीं है, जीरो. और इसमें कितने हैं? इनफाइनाइट सॉल्यूशन है. ठीक है. सो आई एम राइटिंग इनफाइनाइट सॉल्यूशन, नो सॉल्यूशन, एंड दिस इज वन सॉल्यूशन. वन का नाम क्या होता है बेटा? यूनिक. ठीक है. तो तीन तरह के नाम हमने देखे. क्या क्या देखा? वन नेम कैन बी यूनिक सॉल्यूशन. What is the next one you saw? No solution. Another one is infinitely many solution. जरा डायग्राम बना दो. ऐसा, ऐसा, और ये ऐसा, सर सर सर, राइट सर, ये वाला. ठीक है. थोड़ा कॉपी कर लो और आगे कहानी बढ़ाएंगे. अभी समझ में आ रहा है? ये फिगर मत भूलिए, because अभी इसके और भी नाम है. That is where you'll get confused in exam. So always remember things in chronological manner. Unique. You know that boy, he is unique. Means there is something in him which is not there in anyone. Unique. Only one. Infinitely many. No solution. I think this is the easiest names to remember with the diagram. But the second set of names that we will start now, those will be a little bit confuse you, but we can remember them. ओके, पहले लिख लीजिए. Once you're done, let me know. अभी थोड़ा सा फाइट होगा, पर समझने की कोशिश कीजिए. If you see this fellow and if you see this fellow, both these fellows, both these fellows are returning me solution. This returns infinitely many solution. This returns one solution, but they do return. This one hits century. This one hits around 45 तो मार के देगा, मारेगा. ऐसे बैट्समैन को हम बोलते हैं कि इनका परफॉर्मेंस कंसिस्टेंट है. कंसिस्टेंट, कंसिस्टेंट, ठीक है ना. लेकिन इफ यू कॉल बोथ एज कंसिस्टेंट, तो फिर दोनों में फर्क क्या हुआ? यू हैव टू गिव अ डिफरेंट नेम, लिटिल बिट ऑफ डिफरेंशिएशन आल्सो. सो इसको हम बोलेंगे, लुक, in order for getting one solution, another line is absolutely lying over the other line. ये line इसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है. How do you get the position of the first line? Sir, have this line, उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है. ऐसे सोच लो. इसको हम बोलते हैं consistent dependent, and this is called consistent independent. In many books, this will be written only as consistent. This will be written as consistent dependent. Consistent independent, consistent dependent. Have you understood? This fellow will score some runs. This one will score more runs. But both are consistent. But if you call consistent for both, then you are doing injustice to this fellow. So this is consistent dependent. So one way you will get the names is, this is format 1, this is format 2. Consistent. और ये जो है, ये तो हमारा शिवम दुबे है ना, तो इसको हम क्या बोलेंगे? इनकंसिस्टेंट, ठीक है ना. इनकंसिस्टेंट. ड्यूब डुबा दिया. क्लियर? कंसिस्टेंट, इंडिपेंडेंट, इनकंसिस्टेंट. सो नेक्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द चैप्टर नाउ इज, first we will do basics of finding solution. Approach is what? Graphical. So equations have no role for us till the time we plot their graphs. And what are their graphs? Their graphs will be straight line. So एक बार straight line बन गया, उसके बाद हमें just देखना है उनका नेचर क्या है. दोनों straight line intersect कर गया तो एक ही पॉइंट में ही करेगा. Then we will say unique solution. And whatever is this point, look at this point ना. Suppose this point has got a coordinate x1, y1. Is it a part of this line? Yes. Is it a part of this line? Yes. That means it is a solution. And here ऐसा लाइन आ गया तो हम बोलेंगे infinitely many solution. और अगर ऐसा लाइन आ गया हम बोलेंगे no solution. That means our quest now starts on graph. Our next part is ग्राफ बनाना हमें आना चाहिए. ठीक है, अब ग्राफ के टेक्निक्स देखते हैं. चलिए, इतना हो गया. Can I rub? Slowly. So solution between two straight lines, and solution between two straight lines graphically is to draw their graph and then see what is the nature of the two lines. Do they intersect? Do they overlap on one another? Or अच्छा, इसको बोलते हैं consistent dependent, and this is called consistent dependent, and these lines are coincident. ये भी नाम याद रखिए, coincident. This is the third way of naming them, intersecting, and this is called parallel. Parallel, coincident, and intersecting. Intersecting lines, unique solution. Intersecting line, consistent, independent. ठीक है, मिटाऊं भी. इसी में लोचा होगा, लेकिन मैं बार बार बोल रहा हूं, ये भूल जाते हैं लोग. आगे चलते हैं. So our job is to now understand more about graphs. अच्छा, before proceeding to graphs, let us understand that we will be handling simultaneous linear equations. Okay, obviously in 2 var. 2 var means two variables. ठीक है ना, computer language हो गया. Simultaneously 2 variables. So first of all we should have standard format. What is the standard format of a linear equation in one variable? Ax plus b equal to 0. इसका standard format होता है a1x plus b1y plus c1 equal to 0. Always remember, कुछ books में आपको ये c1 इस तरफ भी दिखेगा. In their case, the way they will position their formulas will be completely different. Idea is always keep a 0 on the right hand side. Okay. And the next would be a2x plus b2y plus c2 equal to 0. What is the name of the chapter that you are learning? Linear equations in two variable. There is a chapter in grade 11 which name of which is known as straight lines. So there we study various form of equation of straight lines. So definitely this form of equation must appear in grade 11. This form of equation in straight line chapter is known as standard form of equation. This is known as standard form. अब हम एक और फॉर्म सीखेंगे, वो हमें ग्राफ बनाने में इजी करेगा. 9 में पढ़ाया था, भूल गया होगा. तो वैसे करने से हमें इजी होगा. नाउ द इशू इज नाउ यू हैव टू डू ग्राफ. And when you do graph, the first thing that you need is precision. Number 2, you have to be very neat. And number 3, you have to have absolute neatness and precision. These two things are required. And these two are, in your generation, scarce commodity, as we call it in economics. ये नहीं है आपके पास. The reason is, whatever chapter of constructions you have, those have been taken away now. There is no construction in grade 8, there is no construction in grade 9, 10. So you barely know how to use a protector or a compass. आपसे एक बार में सर्कल भी नहीं बनेगा. You will see it is getting slipped up, और आप रिवर्स मार रहे हो, एक बार में नहीं होगा. But when you go to, and up till 12 you don't use them. But when you go to engineering, if you study engineering or any other thing, then this is not a scarce commodity. This is a necessary skill. A necessary skill which in your childhood was a scarce commodity. तो लफड़ा तो हो गया. So you have to draw graphs of these two equations. The standard format of drawing graphs that your school will expect you, nobody will show mercy to you. People will say take 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyone who has done PU, you have done this chapter in your school, right? How many points has ma'am told you or sir told you to take? 5. 5, 3. You are doing 3. Okay, so some schools they'll say take 5. ठीक है, तो 5 points आप लोगे. इसका मतलब ऐसा कोई लाइन आएगा और इस लाइन में ऐसे 5 पॉइंट रहेंगे. आपको तो पेंसिल भी पकड़ना नहीं आता है, बुरा मत मानिए. तो you drawing a straight line with 5 points like this is next to impossible. और अगर मेरे जैसा टीचर आपको मिल गया चेक करने में और आपके दोनों पॉइंट ऐसे हैं और आपका लाइन ऐसे गया ना, ये पॉइंट ऊपर चला गया, मैं तो काटूंगा नंबर, बिकॉज दिस इज ग्राफिकल. ठीक है, तो अब देखते हैं हाउ टू ड्रॉ ग्राफ्स फास्टर एंड हाउ टू ड्रॉ देम इन मच मोर स्मार्टर वे. सो इन ऑर्डर टू ड्रॉ ग्राफ्स फास्टर एंड स्मार्टर, प्लीज रियलाइज यू आर ड्रॉइंग, बेसिकली यू आर ट्राइंग टू प्लॉट व्हाट इज नोन एज अ स्ट्रेट लाइन. और एक स्ट्रेट लाइन को प्लॉट करने के लिए भाई साहब 2 पॉइंट काफी होते हैं. 2 पॉइंट इज इनफ. That means, sir, we will disobey our school teacher? Not at all. You will take 2 points like this and you will try to draw a straight line with these 2 points. Unless and until you are a super idiot, there is very less chances that you will goof up here. यहाँ आप goof up नहीं करोगे. 2 points से line draw करना is comparatively easy than drawing with 5 points. And then go to your chart and hunt all the other 5 points और इनको यहाँ पे बिठा दो. किसको पता चलेगा आपने ऑमलेट रखते वक्त वो फ्लोर पे गिर के उसको वापस प्लेट में दिया या डायरेक्ट तवा से प्लेट में लाया, है ना? Who knows whether you drew the lines first or you mark the points first? No one gets to know. So our question is, sir, out of these two, how to do it with these two faster? Okay, इसको now whatever I'm going to teach you is not in grade 10 syllabus, but anyway in 11 you will learn. सीख लोगे तो अच्छा रहेगा. 9 में भी सिखाया था. Just like you have a standard format, you have another format called slope intercept format. Slope intercept format of a straight line. What is a slope intercept format? Means, ऐसे देख लो. Okay, let's say take a Cartesian coordinate system. This is your graph paper, and I have a line which is like this. This is my line. Intercept. Word comes from intercept. हाईवे के पुलिस को क्या बोलते हैं? इंटरसेप्टर. वो आपको पकड़ता है. इंटरसेप्ट का मतलब होता है y इंटरसेप्ट. there can be x intercept also, but I'll teach you with y intercept. और y intercept ये point होता है, the point where the line will cut the y axis. y axis ने line को डबाच करके पकड़ लिया, that is y intercept. सर इसको क्या बोलते हैं? x intercept. So you have got an intercept form also, but we will not go in that detail. We'll deal with y intercept. If you are dealing with y intercept, then the format of this equation will be y equal to mx plus c. These two are same things. ऐसा घबराने का नहीं है सर, सेम थिंग नहीं है. क्यों नहीं है? देखो ना, y equal to minus a2x minus c2 है ना, divided by b2 divided by b2. Look, this is again as y equal to minus a2 by b2, y equal to mx plus negative c2 by b2 है ना, y equal to mx plus c यहाँ भी है. The only thing is the value of m is बड़ा, minus a2 by b2, y equal to mx plus c. Now c stands for this value, so the coordinate of this point would be 0c. 0c. एक एग्जाम्पल दीजिए सर, अगर मैं आपको बोलूं y इक्वल टू 2x plus 1, y equal to 2x plus 1, that means looking at the equation you should say this line will cut y axis at 1. आपको ड्रॉ करने की जरूरत ही नहीं, एक पॉइंट तो ऐसे ही मिल जाता है. मैंने आपको इक्वेशन दिया y equal to 2x minus 1, sir this line will cut the y axis in -1. ये आपके स्कूल में नहीं बताएगा क्योंकि आपके चैप्टर में नहीं है, उसको भी नहीं बताया होगा 100%. मैंने बोला अब आप थोड़ी देर के लिए ये फॉर्मेट को भूल जाइए. देयर इज अनदर फॉर्मेट ऑफ स्ट्रेट लाइन व्हिच इज नोन एज द स्लोप इंटरसेप्ट फॉर्मेट, व्हिच इज रिटन इन द फॉर्म y इक्वल टू mx प्लस c. गिवन एनी इक्वेशन वी हैव टू राइट इन, मतलब y को अलग करके बाकी तामझाम सब एक साइड में. सो वी कॉल इट एज y इक्वल टू mx प्लस c. लेट अस फर्स्ट अंडरस्टैंड what is this bala and what is this bala. C is known as the y-intercept. Y-intercept means point on y-axis where this line will actually cut. समझ में आया? ठीक है, आदित्य अटेंशन दीजिए, आप बहुत डिस्ट्रैक्टेड हो. आप डिस्ट्रैक्टेड हो, या तो योर इफ यू थिंक दैट दिस पार्ट इज एक्सेस बीइंग थॉट, यू डोंट वांट टू डिसोन इट, तो चुपचाप रहिए. खोलना फिरना, बाजू में बात करना, देखना, हंसना. माई आईज गो एवरीवेयर. नहीं, बात नहीं. यू आर नॉट एट फॉल्ट, दिस वन इज एट फॉल्ट दिस टाइम. शी इज एट फॉल्ट, नॉट यू, बट योर अटेंशन ऑल्सो शुड बी हियर. वहां जो कर रहा है उसमें नहीं. एंड एज लॉन्ग एज यू वांट टू लर्न दिस, इफ यू डोंट वांट टू लर्न एंड यू आर फाइन विद द 5 सिस्टम्स, आई एम ऑल्सो फाइन. आई एम नॉट सेइंग ना, इफ यू वांट टू लर्न और एंड इफ नो वन वांट्स टू लर्न, तो उस वक्त थोड़ा चुपचाप रहिए ना, ये से कुछ मत करते रहिए जो आप कर रहे हो. ठीक है, चलिए. सो y इक्वल टू mx प्लस c. c is the point which is the point on the y axis where the line will be actually touching it. Now go back. In order to draw this line, how many points do we need? 2 points. एक पॉइंट तो मिल ही गया, एक पॉइंट तो मिल ही गया. c नहीं, 0c. 0c. अगर मैं इक्वेशन ये बना दूं, देन इसको देख के आप बोल दोगे सर दिस इज अ लाइन which will touch y axis at -1, मीन्स 0 -1. ये लाइन ये पॉइंट को टच करके जाएगा. अब ऐसे जाएगा, ऐसे जाएगा, हमें नहीं पता. ऐसे जाएगा, ऐसे जाएगा, ऐसे जाएगा, वो नहीं पता, पर इसको छू के जरूर जाएगा. अगर मैं आपको बोलूं y इक्वल टू 2x लिख दूं, तो मामला गड़बड़ा जाएगा. नहीं, अभी भी तो c है, आपको दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है. गुड सार्थक, अभी भी c है. c 0 means the line will pass through the origin, है ना, the line will pass through the origin. So this is called, have you understood the concept about intercept? You see my pressure under what conditions I teach. Okay, so have you understood? Clear? Good, you people sit here, you don't sit at the back bench, right? There's a lot of fun that keeps on happening there. So y equal to 2x plus 0. C concept clear हो गया. अभी नेक्स्ट आते हैं, तो इसको हम बोलते हैं y intercept. See, in grade 10 there will be another format of equation where they'll write x equal to my plus c. In that case c becomes x intercept. हमें वो नहीं जानना है इतना. अब m को जानना है. m को हम बोलते हैं slope, the one that you hate. ठीक है ना, slope. Slope means what? inclination with the x-axis. Okay, slope is given by the formula rise over run. Rise over run. Once you have spotted this point, आके यहाँ खड़े हो जाओ. यहाँ खड़े हो गए आप. हाँ, बच्चा नहीं गिराना, इस पर खड़ा रहना है. Now we'll take an example. Let's take this example, right? So can this equation be seen as y equal to mx plus c? I say c is equal to 1, m is equal to 2. Is this understood? That means the value of slope is equal to 2. 2. लेकिन 2 अकेला तो आता नहीं है, अपना चेयर घर से लेके आता है. 2 means 2 by 1. That means rise will be 2 and run is 1. अब यहां से थोड़ा सा चेस जैसा खेलना होगा. चेस में वो जानते हैं, हमें इंग्लिश में नाम नहीं आता. द कॉइन हम नाउ बोलते हैं, आप लोग रुक बोलते हो. रुक. The rook travels how in chess? Always in straight lines. Doesn't go diagonally. Yeah. Now 2-1. 2-1 is rise and run. So let's just understand. If the rise is positive, हमारे केस में rise कितना है? 2. I can write it as plus 2. Positive rise means always going northwards. अभी रुक जाना. If the rise would have been -1, that means it's still rise. How much was the profit in your business? -10 rupees. That means you have done a loss. How pious are you? Sir, -2. That means you're a sinner. But we'll call everything in pious scale. How pious are you? +2. मतलब बहुत पुण्यवान हो. What is your profit? +10 rupees. मतलब प्रॉफिट है. समझ में आया? Rise पॉजिटिव मतलब आप नॉर्थ जाओगे. राइज नेगेटिव मतलब आप साउथ जाओगे. हमारे एग्जाम्पल में राइज कैसा है? पॉजिटिव है 2. याद रखिएगा. इसके बाद आता है रन. रन कैसा चीज है? रन अगर पॉजिटिव है तो हम इस साइड रन करेंगे. लिटिल बिट बायस्ड इंडियन वे. दाहिने. राइट इज ऑलवेज गुड, सो यू गो रन टू द राइट. And the axis also, this is the positive side, this is the negative side. And if the value of run comes negative, which very less time will come, because say suppose you get the value of slope as rise over run and you get it as 2 by -1. Are you idiot? You can compare it as -2 by 1 na? So the rise will always be usually positive. Sir, if I get both as negative, idiot, then both is negative cancel and it becomes positive. As simple as that. मजा आ रहा है? So the rise, still if you get a negative rise means, negative run means, sorry, I was using the word rise. If you get a negative run means you run this side. So are you fine with the concept of rise and run? Rise, run. If the rise is positive, if the run is negative, if the rise is negative, so we'll now play with this particular value. Now since you have positioned yourself out here, this is 0, and what is the value of c in our equation? 1. So we say this is 1 on the y-axis. ऐसे यहाँ पे एक और पॉइंट होगा 2, एक और पॉइंट होगा 3, उसी तरह यहाँ पे 1 होगा, यहाँ पे 2 होगा, यहाँ पे 3 होगा, ऐसा. ठीक है. अब यहाँ से आप ये फॉर्मूला फॉलो दिस. दिस इज योर न्यू आर्मी प्लान. मूव. सो व्हाट डू? यू राइज 2. वेयर आर यू? 1. You rise 2. Where do you reach? 3. And how much do you run? 1. Positive. What is this point? 1 3. मिल गया दूसरा पॉइंट. बस आपका लाइन बन गया. आपका लाइन बन गया. Clear? As simple as that. अब जरा एक और लाइन बनाते हैं. पहले इसको सीखते हैं, उसके बाद आप देखो थर आपका बन जाएगा सब. लेट्स सी. टेबल भी बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है, आप और इजी, बट टेबल बनेगा बिकॉज स्कूल में टेबल दिखाना पड़ेगा. नाउ लेट्स से वी हैव एन इक्वेशन y इक्वल टू -2x minus 1. -2x minus 1. अच्छा, -2x plus 1 रखते हैं पहले. -2x ठीक है, -1 रखो और इजी होगा. -2x minus 1. So let's put our point 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 1 2 3. We have to first plot the graph of this line. How many points we need? 2 points. ठीक है. बाकी I'll tell you how to make your school का 5 6 वो सब बन जाएगा. So let's take the 2 points. Looking at the equation itself, we know this has to touch y-axis at -1. So one of the point will be this particular point. What's the coordinate of it? 0, negative 1. Compare it with y equal to mx plus c. You declare m is equal to negative 2, c is equal to negative 1. ये तो हो गया हमारा. So where are we now? Like Dora the Explorer, we are here, है ना? And now you have to take your slope. Slope is equal to m is equal to rise over run, which is equal to negative 2 over 1. So what does Dora do? Negative rise. So she falls 2 down. So she comes to negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. And then she has a run of 1. So she falls down to negative 2 and then she runs 1 positive. 1 positive. She reaches at this point. Have you understood? Yeah. What is the coordinate of this point? Positive 1, negative 3. बस ये आपका line बन गया. Now, sir, in the exam, ma'am has told us to do with 5 points. बहुत बड़े 5 point नहीं है ना? कौन बना के? 5 points. So how do you write it? You have written x, and you write here y equal to negative 2x minus 1, and you give your point. When x is equal to 0, y is minus 1. When x is equal to 1, y is minus 3. When this graph will pass, it will pass through some beautiful points like this. ऐसे points से pass करेगा. वो point को उठा लो और यहाँ डालते जाओ, तब मैच करेगा. हाँ हाँ, अच्छे point से pass करेगा ना. Pick up any good point, or else you can solve it like this also. Let's say we take x is equal to minus 1. Minus 1 into minus 2 is how much? Plus 2. Plus 2 minus 1 is how much? 1. Just check. If it is minus 1, that means if the value of x is minus 1, though my graph is not correct, if the value of x is minus 1, then y should be at minus 1. ये point आ रहा है. My graph is a freehand graph, otherwise it will exactly match here. Did you understand what I'm trying to say? It will exactly match here. Minus 1 means the line will actually pass through this point. ऐसे तो घूम के जाएगा. Let's see. Y x is equal to minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, 2, 2 minus 1, minus 1. If you take x as minus 1, y's value you are going to get as 1. Oh, इधर आएगा. तुम लोग भी ना, ये देखो आया तो है. This is minus 1, 1. See? If you take minus 1, 1 is matching. और match कराना है. You take the value of x equal to, let's take the value of x equal to minus 2. लेके देखो minus 2. Minus 2 into minus 2 is how much? 4. 4 minus 1? 3. अगर आप minus 2 आते हो तो मोटा मोटी 3 पे देखो टच करके जाएगा आपका लाइन. 5 बोला ना, आप 16 ले लो and then circle them. This is about how you draw the line. Now the neatness part. Whenever you are drawing a graph and you have found out, now let's go back to, this is the idea how you draw. Now the practical implications are how I will draw. Have two type of pencils. ये सब बोलता हूँ, सब एक कान से घुसता है एक साथ है. हाँ, HB, 2B. 2Bs are to be used for all letters and your graph. You should have a nice eraser with only one corner used. Don't use all the corners. You've got 8 corners, preserve them. Then you should have a scale. Okay, 2B is only for the graph and letters. HB is for all your lines. Okay, sharpener, and you should have a scale. But what you will do is that, अभी तो कंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं है, कंस्ट्रक्शन रहता तो आपके हाथ में जो कॉम्पास में पेंसिल है ना, उसी को उल्टा कर करके आप ड्रॉ करोगे. दैट इज द कॉमन वे. ठीक है. सो विथ योर HB पेंसिल, फर्स्ट मेक योर सिंगल स्ट्रोक. यू नेवर ब्रिंग लाइन लाइक दिस, और ऐसा नहीं करते हैं. वंस यू डू दिस, नेहा हैज अ हैबिट, ट्विक ऐसा करने का. नेवर गो बैक. बैक कारपेंटर जाता है ना, कारपेंटर ऐसा करके, तब पेंसिल यहाँ पे रख लेना, है ना. ठीक है. So this is to be with HB. After that you are supposed to mark your points. These markings should be with 2B. आपका ग्राफ देखने में अच्छा लगेगा. Pens have no place in graph. Pen has no place in graph. When you are making a graph, pen cannot come. ठीक है, हो गया. Then 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. मैं ऐसे सीखा हूं और मैं ऐसे ही नंबरिंग करूंगा आपको. Then comes the scale of the graph. Whenever you are doing any sort of what you call pictorial representation, everything that you use should be in block letters. Scale, and the scale will be x-axis. You should write what is your scale. So you use a centigraph. So you say 1 centimeter is equal to 1 unit. And similarly, you can say y-axis 1 centimeter is equal to 1 unit. This is the way you draw a graph. And if you are not starting from 1, say you are showing the cost of Mercedes Benz, so the pricing starts from 50 lakh, so 50 will be here. In that case, we put kinks. Kink, that is called a kink, K-I-N-K, kink. ठीक है, the kink एक ही बार डालते हैं और kink ऐसे दिखाया जाता है, ऐसा means the line is like the elastic of your trouser, ऐसे खींचने से लंबा होगा, अभी ऐसे करके रख दिया है, तो line extends on both sides. This is called a kink. इसमें kink की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. kink means K-I-N-K, इसकी जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है. ठीक है, ये हो गया हमारा. Now I am trying to draw the graph of this one, this particular point. So what was the first point we got? What is our equation? Our equation is y equal to negative 2x minus 1. Right? So the graph passes through minus 1, 0 minus 1. Take your divider, not your pencil. Take the divider and stab your copy out here, 0 minus 1. Stab it means stab it, hold कर लो, stab करो. Pencil use ही नहीं करना है आपको भी. Just stab it. Done. Pencil still doesn't come into play. Then you traced out your next point. What was your next point? 1 minus 3. So your next point is 1 and minus 3. Again stab it here. And yes, circles की जरूरत नहीं है. If you have stabbed it, then use your your 2B pencil, and you can put these two circles. Then is the most crucial part. If this step goes wrong, the entire graph will go wrong. Align your ruler in such a manner that you know that you will be touching these 2 points, and keep it like this. 2-3 बार check करो. And generally we draw lines from top to bottom. अगर आपका सेटिंग सही है तो आपको इधर देखने की जरूरत नहीं, आप फील करोगे घटक करके यहाँ गिरेगा पेंसिल, घटक करके गिरेगा, क्योंकि आपने 2 गड्ढे बनाए हैं यहाँ पे. अगर 2 घटक नहीं आया ना तो आपका कटक है, ग्राफ में गड़बड़ी है. 2 बार घट करेगा आपका 100%. And do not hold the pencil too very slant, straight. ऐसे आएगा ग्राफ. And then take your, this line should be with 2B, and very nicely make your arrows. मेरे को अगर टेस्ट में तुमने ऐसा बना के दे दिया ना, अमूल्य जैसा लड्डू, see the acceptance cannot be so lenient. ऐसे आप लाइन बनाओगे with 2 arrow. Yeah, done. Such harsh treatment for an arrow. No, that is the acceptance that my teachers had for me. So nowadays it is nothing your fault. I never blame you kids. The fault started from your KG class and primary to middle school, where the school has lowered the acceptance to such a criteria in order to please the parent. Otherwise, parent says we will take our child from this school. Oh, loss of business. Client, na? Your parents are not parents for the school; they're client. So, ये acceptance criteria I cannot allow. The other day I had a test with Cambridge people. What they did, graph बनाना था. As a graph paper is like this, and the graph starts from here. This is the print of the graph, and this portion is white. Pen से ऐसे लेके बना दिया, काट के लड्डू दे दिया. 0. How dare you make that? Graph is something. Looking at the graph, it should be, your diagrams should look so beautiful, and that's one thing. Everyone's handwriting is not good. But if you actually go to mechanical, civils and other, you'll see everyone's plate. Plate is the drawing sheet. It's known as a plate. Everyone's drawing plate looks good, and it has to look good. आपका plate अच्छा होना ही पड़ेगा. तो ये आपका आ गया, यहाँ पे line. Now, once this ghatak has happened, either you plot here. Now we always do with 0, and the idea is to do with 0, 1, and then you put a -1 and -2. Now hunt these points out here. There's another way. Either you take the points from here and put them here. आपको डर लगता है तो पहले पॉइंट्स बिठा लीजिए, and then you say again take your divider. This is 1 point. Now sit 5 na, 1 more point, 1 more point, and then put a circle. Your graph will be looking absolute spot on perfect. Spot on. क्योंकि अब टीचर खुद बौखला जाएगा, इतना एक्यूरेसी कहां से लाया, कुछ तो गड़बड़ किया, लेकिन गड़बड़ पकड़ा ही नहीं जाएगा. उसको क्या पता ऑमलेट कढ़ाई से प्लेट में आया कि नीचे से उठ के आया. Because we'll be serving it absolutely in pristine condition. Ma'am, your omelette, like that. वो कैसे बना उससे कुछ मतलब नहीं, समझ में आया? So idea is about drawing this graph. So आज क्या करो, अभी थोड़ा और पढ़ेंगे, जैसे आपके पास अभी ग्राफ पेपर नहीं, will not do that. We'll take some more equations and we'll just see. At home when you go today, First, don't try to solve any problem. The way your sir told you, you try to plot one line. Out of two simultaneous equation, you pick one equation only. And see whether you are coming to this level of acceptance or not. Aana chahiye. And later when we work in companies and all, there's one pen called German pen आता है Stablo करके, that's called a graphic pen. तो उससे हम लोग graphs बनाते हैं, and that too comes very beautifully and nice. वो that pen is a graph pen, but pencil से करना चाहिए. ये चीज समझ में आया आपको? How many people have understood? Now we'll discuss more about slope and criteria. ठीक है? Because अगर ये क्लियर है ना, क्लास 10 11 में जाके आपको कोऑर्डिनेट ज्योमेट्री में कोई लफड़ा नहीं होगा. एटलीस्ट देयर आर 4 टाइप्स ऑफ इक्वेशन ऑफ स्ट्रेट लाइन. स्टैंडर्ड, पॉइंट स्लोप, स्लोप इंटरसेप्ट, 2 पॉइंट फॉर्मूला, और उसके बाद आएगा इंटरसेप्ट फॉर्म. 5 है. मैंने तो सिर्फ एक टाइप पढ़ाया है आपको. कम से कम एक टाइप तो अच्छा हो जाएगा आपको. ठीक है, अब कुछ और देखते हैं. आइए. y इक्वल टू mx प्लस c, right? Now, sir, in our exam, the equations will always not be given in this format. They won't give you in this format. They will give you in standard format. Say, for example, the equation given to you is x plus 2y minus 3 is equal to 0. This is one of the equation. Isko leke, you cannot make the graph that I explained to you right now. You have to convert this into this form. Let me make it more complicated. Minus 2y kar do isko. Okay? Everything should be in y's format. So how does it look like? X minus 3 is equal to 2y. Interchange kar lo. 2y equals to x minus 3. So y is equal to, do not write 2 overall. Try to write it like this. X by 2 minus 3 by 2. Now our equation has come in the format of y equal to mx plus c, where m ki value is half and c ki value is minus 3 by 2, which is nothing but negative 1.5. Understood? The graph will pass through this point. Negative 1.5, sorry, negative 3 by 2 and 0. Sorry, ulta likh diya. 0, negative 3 by 2. The graph will pass through this point. No questions asked. Oh yeah. We need one more point. So we now position ourselves here and now look at the slope. What is the slope? M is equal to rise over run 1 upon 2. A positive rise. A positive rise. So from negative 1.5, a positive rise will take you to positive 0.5. एक rise है. What is the value of rise? 1. Where are you? Negative 0.5. So if you add 1, you go to positive 0.5. Negative 1.5. हाँ ठीक है. Sorry. So your point should be here. Okay. Negative 1.5. ये और अच्छा हुआ. Very good. Negative 1.5. This point is 0. Negative 1.5. Now you are supposed to rise 1. Negative 0.5. Very good. You go to negative 0.5, but you don't mark it. You just hold. You have reached here, negative 0.5. Why did you go? Rise is positive. Now how much is the run? 2 positive. So you come here. This will be your point. And what is this point? On x 2 and on y it is 0.5. So negative 0.5 means negative half. These 2 points I have got. Now go back to grade 9. What is the value of the slope? Positive. If a line makes a positive slope, what is slope? Slope is indicated by the angle the line makes with the positive direction of x-axis, with the positive direction of x-axis. If the line is making an angle which is acute, this is positive direction, you make anywhere, this is the positive direction of x-axis, x positive. If this angle is acute, slope is always positive. Look for our line. Is the angle acute? Slope is always positive. If the line is obtuse, angle is obtuse, slope is negative. In the previous example, our slope was negative. So if you see, this is an obtuse angle. And if the line comes something like this, slope is 0. There is slope मतलब ढलान ना, बच्चा को गिरना है यार, ऐसे गिरो, ऐसे गिरो, ऐसा आ जाने से इसका एग्जांपल दे पाओगे? Grade 9, what is the equation of this line? If this point is 0, say B, what is the equation of this line? This equation is y equal to b. Y equal to b is a line, not b, negative b. Y equal to negative b is a line which is parallel to the x-axis, offset by a distance negative b. What is the equation of x-axis? Y equal to 0. Y equal to 0 का मतलब every point on the x-axis will have the y coordinate 0. Sir, this is minus 4 0, minus 3 0, minus 1 0. Every point on this, the y coordinate will be b. This is minus 4b. Sir, this is minus 3b. समझ में आया? How to write it in slope intercept form? Y equal to 0x plus minus b. How much is the slope? 0. That's why you used to say, if the slope of a displacement time graph is 0, अब यहां में देखा छोड़ तो नहीं सकते हो ना, this is displacement, this is time, right? What does the slope tell you about? Slope is always y data by x data, meter over second. It tells you about velocity or speed, right? If the slope is 0, that means at whatever time your vehicle is driving, the distance covered is same. That means there is no velocity, vehicle is stationary. Slope of a xt graph gives me velocity. AT graph, VT graph would give me acceleration. ये सब आप भूल नहीं सकते, आपको 11 में मार डालेगा इसी के ऊपर 50 क्वेश्चंस आएंगे आपको. And this you have learned in grade 9. So please, whoever gives you a bridging course after grade 10 exam, don't get very happy and run around. Attend, if you want to study in science, please get into a bridging course and get into these things as quickly as possible. So have you understood slope 0? आपके केस में slope 0 नहीं आएगा, वैसे constant line नहीं देगा, दे भी सकता है, अगर constant line दे तो slope 0. Suppose they give us a equation, plot y equal to 4. Very easy sir, y equal to 4. Y equal to 4 means ऐसा एक line जिसका सब y coordinate 4 होता है. So this is y equal to 4. This is 4 and all points. This is y equal to 4. What is the equation of y-axis? X equal to 0. What is the equation of x-axis? Y equal to 0. ठीक है, तो ये हुआ. अब कुछ और सवाल पूछता हूं, देखता हूं आपका कॉन्सेप्ट डेवलप हुआ है कि नहीं. देख के आंसर देना आपका हैबिट हो रहा है कि नहीं. Let's see. Does anyone have an R.S. Agarwal right now? Yeah, that's your book only. Open the chapter and see any graphical question. Wait, let me see. Any graphical question. Linear equation in two variables. Okay. They don't have graph only, or what? Yeah. So we have graphical question. So let's take the question and let's first see whether we will be able to identify or not. So the question given is, we have two equations, x plus 2y is equal to 3 and 4x plus 3y is equal to 2. ठीक है, ग्राफ ड्रॉ किया हुआ है, हम देखेंगे नहीं, हम इसके ग्राफ प्रेडिक्ट कर देते हैं. चलो इसका ग्राफ प्रेडिक्ट करते हैं. सबसे पहले लेट्स प्रेडिक्ट द ग्राफ ऑफ द फर्स्ट वन. What is the step? Sir, convert it into the format y equal to negative x by 2 plus 3 by 2. Agreed? Intercept is positive, slope is negative. This graph has to come like this. Intercept is positive, slope is negative. Means it should make a obtuse angle with x-axis. अभी ये थोड़ा ऐसा हो सकता है, ऐसा हो सकता है, ऐसा होगा, इतना हमको पता है. ठीक है, लेट्स लुक एट दिस वन. y इज इक्वल टू निगेटिव 4x, ठीक है, प्लस 2 बाई 3 बाई 3. अगेन 2 बाई 3, ये कितना है? 3 बाई 2. 3 बाई 2 इज, दिस इज 2 बाई 3, उससे छोटा है. मतलब अगला लाइन जो है इससे कम में टच करेगा. स्लोप का वैल्यू देखो, ये हाफ है, ये 1 से ज्यादा है. इसका इंक्लिनेशन, ऐसे भी सोचो, इसका इंक्लिनेशन और थोड़ा इस साइड से जाएगा, थोड़ा सा ऐसे जाएगा आपके ग्राफ से. नॉट हियर, इट वोंट टच हियर, आई डोंट नो, बट कुछ ऐसा ग्राफ जाना चाहिए. लेट अस ओपन एंड सी. कुछ वैसा ही ग्राफ जा रहा है. दिस मच यू कैन प्रेडिक्ट. कैन यू डू ए रिवर्स प्रेडिक्शन? कैन एनीबॉडी टेल? Yeah.
Sorry if I'm disturbing you. Maybe 1405.
Can we chat after say 8 o'clock onwards? I have classes going on right now. You don't mind if you can just come out, but that will be a short time. Around 10 minutes I can give you. Another 10 minutes from now.
I think what I do, I'm coming out at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
What time you will see?
I don't stay here. I stay in Beta. So do you have your mobile with you right now?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, give me a missed call.
Oh,
That will be better.
you won't leave it.
I don't leave it. It's my classes only. 99 8999 3706. You stay just a floor below or above with a lot of plants on your balcony, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, fine. So I stay just the parallel balcony of titanium. Yeah. So give a missed call to me, and then we can speak. Then after 8:15, I'm all free. We can speak around. Yeah. Sure. Sorry about that, huh?
Business opportunities.
What?
Business opportunities.
बंद तो करोगे. Sorry. So suppose I have a line like this. Predict its equation. Can you predict the equation of this line? वो सब नहीं पता. मेरे को y की फॉर्मेट में बोलो. It will be something plus 3x plus 2x. So if I tell you that there is an equation 3x minus 2, can this line, they'll say in a competitive exam they'll give like this, can this line ever represent something like this? Not to be a figure for just for artist impression purpose. Not exact. Yes, it can represent. क्योंकि ये negative है. Which out of the 4 lines represents the given line? ऐसा एक line दे दिया. जो भी चुलाओ ना रस्सी में इंक नहीं है यार. ऐसा एक line दे दिया. One line is given like this. One line is given line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. Out of 4 lines, which do you think best suits this? This is the aptitude that has to develop. तभी बैठ के practice करने का time नहीं है. It is like this. harsh है. अगर आप पूरा सीखने जाओगे ना, सीखो, सीखने का कोई कमी नहीं है, पेपर खत्म नहीं होगा. और एवरी रॉन्ग में 1 मार्क जाता है. 1 mark goes with every wrong. And you're looking at the question, you should know, अच्छा ये ऐसे हो सकता है. Suppose somebody tells you, say y equal to say 11 by 4 minus sine x plus sine square x plus 1 ऐसा है. And I tell you, ये फंक्शन का मैक्सिमम वैल्यू कितना होगा? व्हाट इज द मैक्सिमम वैल्यू ऑफ दिस फंक्शन? ऐसे ही पूछा आपको. आंसर 1 मिनट में हो सकता है. इसका मैक्सिमम वैल्यू 11.4 ही हो सकता है, इससे ज्यादा नहीं होगा. लुक एट दिस. Whatever value you get here will be deducted from 11.4. So the maximum you can reach is only
11 by 4.
11 by 4, not 11.4, 11 by 4. And in that case, this should be the value, this value should be 0. Now, will this ever be 0? What is a sine graph? What is a sine x function? Ranges from -1 to 1. A sine will throw all values -1 to 1. Square of sine means everything that is negative also becomes square, means they turn positive. So your answer will come only in here, this range. And now what is the minimum value? 0. Possible है? कितना टाइम लगा? If you don't know the trick, आप इसको करोगे. Why is it this is 0, this for x equal to this, then differentiate. नहीं चाहिए इतना. ये लेवल में जाना है आपको. The road is very very not tough, laborious. Laborious is the word. So either be happy. So my assignment to you today would be draw graph in 2 manner. Number 1, first by intuition. Number 1 by intuition. Intuition means looking at the equation and in your mind you start thinking y equal to mx plus c. Draw just a sketch rough sketch, RS. Once you draw a rough sketch to this, after that I want you to draw the final sketch, and final sketch would be with your HB pencils and all. आपको कितना मजा आएगा, आप जो प्रेडिक्ट कर रहे हो वैसा ही ग्राफ आ रहा है, और आपको किसी के साथ टैली करने की जरूरत नहीं है, यू योरसेल्फ नो हम करेक्ट है. टेक अप इक्वेशन, जैसे ये बुक था ना, RS अग्रवाल सॉल्व्ड एग्जांपल्स, पेज नंबर 81, मैंने ऐसे दो इक्वेशन लिए. In every question there will be two equation. You take only one equation. From that one equation, draw a rough sketch. Take rough sketch, and then draw the final sketch, and then you check whether same आ रहा है कि नहीं. You do not check the book. If the final sketch is coming like the rough sketch, यार अपना mind तो काम कर रहा है सही. ठीक है, ये आप ही का बुक है, आप उस दिन भूल गए थे. चलो, in next class we will be doing some graphical problems. Bring your graph book so that we do. On Wednesday you have a test. All of you on Wednesday you have a test.